You're listening to FabulosiTEA, in which we discuss what you bring to the tea party, essentials for the modern heroine.
I'm Caroline from Sparkles and Crumbs.
And I'm Xandra from Fashionably Light.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode 13, in which we discuss flying with Flair. And the reason we chose this particular topic this week is because I think Xandra and I, we pretty much qualify as frequent flyers, don't we? We're always jetting about all over the place, and we're always sharing tips on how to make it a bit more fabulous and kind of little shortcuts and suggestions for making flying a bit of a nicer experience. And we thought we'd share that with you.
Yeah, and flying, I feel, is one of those things that has the potential to be really glamorous or really not. So we're going to help you find the glamorous side of it. But before we get to that, what is fabulous in your life today, Caroline?
Well, last night we had a bowling night. It was there was a half price it's half price Tuesdays at the local bowling alley, and it was very old school. We went and we bowled, and we went in the video game arcade and played all like the little, driving games and dance mats, and
oh my gosh,
stood in line with all the little children to cash in our tickets and get sweets as prizes, and it was just really good fun. It's like,
Did you used to go to places like that when you were little?
Really occasionally. It's almost more fun as an adult.
True. Well, I really want to go, but they're sort of kids' places, aren't they? In America, we have Chuck E. Cheese and similar places. They're like arcade games, the playground.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to do something a bit different with a big bunch of friends rather than just go out just drinking. But yeah,
sure,
it was good fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to make this a weekly tradition.
A weekly tradition?
We go get a big dinner together and then go bowling.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I need to visit you.
You need to come back to Cambridge. So what's your fabulosity?
Well, my fabulosity happened a few minutes ago because I really felt like having a snack, and I looked in the fridge, and I remembered that I had made this strawberry dessert a couple of days ago. And the beauty of it is that these were strawberries that I had sort of forgotten were in the fridge, so they were no longer sweet enough to just eat on their own. So I had that, and I had some leftover wine that I wanted to use up. So I Googled wine and strawberries recipe. And apparently what you can do is just marinate the strawberries in wine and put some sugar on it and just leave it in the fridge. And it tastes so fabulous.
It sounds like all my favourite things, Xandra.
Caroline is dying over here.
Well, so you literally just cover some strawberries in wine and sugar and put them in the fridge for a bit? Like mash up the strawberries?
That is pretty much it. Yeah, it said to quarter the strawberries, so that's what I did. And it's really good. I just had it with a little dessert fork.
I'm so going to make that this weekend. Ooh.
It's so yummy. There are others where they suggest, like, baking it in the wine, and that sounded really good as well. That would be really good with, like, scones or shortcake.
Well, now you're just making me hungry, Xandra.
Sorry.
That is so fabulous to you. Oh.
It is. Yeah, so I wanted to share that tip with everyone. So, today we're talking about flying, and I thought it would be cool to go through like a chronological procession of what you experience when you're going on a flight. So you have the preparation where you're packing and getting dressed, and then there's the airport segment, and then the flight itself, and then the landing afterwards.
Your glorious arrival.
So your glorious arrival. So let's talk about the preparation. What do you do to get ready for a flight?
Oh gosh, well, I'm basically like a hobo. I get on a plane and I always bring big comfy socks, which I change into right away. And if it's not summer, I'll bring my big fur coat that I can lie under like it's a blanket. And I'll just get really, really comfy on the flight. So I make sure I always have, like a big shawl and big thick socks in my hand luggage. And lots of reading material, fully charged iPod.
Yeah. So what is your typical flight like? You do a lot of nearby European flights, right? So what is the average length of your flight?
So I do a lot back and forth to Edinburgh, where my boyfriend's living at the moment, and that's 50 minutes in the air. So basically, you get on, open your book and you're landing again.
Wow.
And then I fly a lot because you know how much I love holidays, Xandra. I fly a lot around to kind of Italy and France and Spain, and that's usually about, hour or two maximum.
Okay. So we have two perspectives here, since you go on these short flights, and my main flight is from here to England.
Oh gosh, yeah, they're so different.
Which is 6 to 7 hours, usually.
I think the difference is when you're on a short haul flight, you're trying to keep awake. So, it's good to have like maybe a glass of champagne and try not to nap necessarily, but a long haul flight, you probably want to do the exact opposite. You want to kind of rest and...
Right. This is good. We have two experts in different fields.
It's true. I didn't even think of
that. Yes, so well balanced. So you dress for comfort. I'm sure you don't look like a hobo.
Oh no, I meant just in like personality when I get on and kind of make a little corner. And I'm awful. I always make sure I'm sitting next to a friend and I have the window seat so I can kind of spread myself out over all the chairs and get comfortable. But yeah, I also Cat Williams wrote a great article actually on her, as part of her honeymoon travel guide over at Rock and Roll Bride. She wrote about her 10 essentials for a long haul flight. So there you go. And she suggests always packing noise cancelling headphones, which is a really good idea for kind of crying children.
I was going to bring that up because everyone seems to have that on their list, and yet I've never had noise cancelling headphones.
So these headphones, I have a noise cancelling, but I have to put batteries in them. Okay. I keep getting to do it, so I've never tried out how noise cancelling they are.
Well, Coco from Light by Coco, my fellow minimalist blogger, also includes noise cancelling headphones on her list, except hers are noise cancelling earbuds.
Ooh.
Which I didn't know was a thing, but that's what I might invest in.
Rather than...
Yeah, but they're noise cancelling. You can turn them on.
That's a really good idea. Do you do things like, there's people who bring like their own pillow onto the flight. Do you ever do that?
Okay, so we were flying back from Hong Kong, and I was going on a shopping spree at Muji because they had a massive one at the airport. So I decided to buy one of the Muji travel pillows because I figured if I'm going to get a travel pillow, it should be from Muji. And I had it for that one flight, and it was really nice. And then my dad borrowed it to go on another long flight, and he won't give it back to me.
Traitor. Thieving traitor.
Well, he likes it so much that I'm sort of not interfering.
It's a beautiful question. But so I guess, one of the interesting things is that flying short haul compared to yours, I only ever travel with hand luggage. I hate bringing, I hate having kind of hold luggage. That's the word. And I went to the Canaries for 7 days, which is a good 5-hour flight, and I still only brought hand luggage. So obviously that's a bit different. But whether you're kind of bringing hold luggage or not, you still are limited on what toiletries you can have in your hand luggage.
And for our American listeners, hold luggage, I think, means like checking in a bag.
Oh yeah, sorry, checked
baggage. Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
Wow, we're learning new words. Yeah, I mean, as a minimalist, I would try to only bring... I can't even remember the words that they are now, but only to not check in any bags. Just because usually when I'm checking in bags to fly...
Carry on?
Yeah, carry on.
But yeah, I'm a big sucker. I go to kind of Lush and beauty counters and get a load of little samples and take them on the flight.
Yeah, that's such a good idea. I have, Muji again. I have their travel containers, and I just fill them up with my own products. And what I've learned to do is upon returning home, unless you're traveling all the time, like every week, what I do is I take those samples and just use them up, because otherwise I noticed as I was doing my minimalist decluttering challenge, I accumulate all of these like half-used toiletries, and I don't really know how old they are, so they just sit there and I don't use them. So I recommend just using up your leftovers straight away. But let's get back to the preparation.
Yes.
So is there anything in particular that you like to bring on a flight?
Oh, you have. I always bring at least 2 books in case you get through one. There's nothing worse than running out of a book halfway through the flight and then just having to sit and read like the in-flight magazine
Yeah.
and the shopping.
Or having them I brought my Kindle and they tell you to turn your Kindle off sometimes when for takeoff and landing. So I'm like, this is bizarre. I have to turn off my book.
See, this is harking back to episode 1, our very first episode. This is why I don't have an ebook. An ebook? An e-reader. That's the word, isn't it? Um, so in terms of getting to the airport,
Yes.
kind of the next stage, I assume we'll talk more about prep. Um, what kind of is your routine? Do you have any kind of tips for how to make the most of the airport?
Well, getting to the airport in Boston, I usually get dropped off by my very kind parents. In Oxford, the difficult thing is I have to take a bus to Heathrow, and then so there's like the variable of traffic on like a 1.5 hour journey that could be a lot longer. So I like to leave plenty of time to get to the airport because I'd rather not stress about it.
Me too.
Yeah, so we both like getting to the airport early. It's just nice to be checked in and then.
Yeah. Oh, the worst. I've almost missed a flight to Edinburgh once, and that was horrible.
It's so
To run across the
stressful.
airport. It's so stressful. I don't know how people can be late all the time. But do you know what's hilarious? So my mum is very like me, but like even more planning ahead. She likes to leave, about 4 hours to be at the airport. She hates rushing and not having enough time. Whereas my dad, completely unfussed. And I remember family holidays, he used to just wander off at the airport and they'd call our gate and mum would be in an absolute state like, he has all our boarding passes, where is he gone? And then he'd kind of wander back 15, 20 minutes later and I'd be like, where were you? He's like, oh, I went to the loo. And then oh, someone was giving something away at duty free. Oh, and then I bought a book and mum was just like, get on the flight. But it's like fly more frequently unless kind of it's a special occasion, a holiday. If it's just kind of a standard flying to Scotland, I tend to not leave a lot of time. And it's awful. I become more and more like my dad because it's right. EasyJet calls its flights. It's ridiculous. At Stansted, they'll announce the flight 10 minutes before it's supposed to be leaving. They'll announce the gate kind of 10 minutes before the supposed closing. Yeah. And so everyone else rushes, and I sit there kind of finishing my cake, just been like, it's fine, the plane's not leaving yet.
Well, you get into the habit,
I'll
don't
finish
you?
my cake. Yeah, but no, like but you can do that when you leave enough time.
Right. Yes, so leave time at the airport to finish your cake.
Well, I've told you about the lounge, haven't I?
I think it's worth repeating the lounge bit.
Yes, I don't know if I mentioned this before. Sorry if I have, listeners. But I would recommend if you're going on a nice vacation, you should start it in style and leave even more time to get to the airport and book into the airport lounge, because my friend and I did that at, I think it was Gatwick. It was Gatwick, and it was just glorious. I think it's something like £27 if you book online each. But you sit, rather than sitting in like, the kind of unpleasantly crowded airport seats, you sit in this gorgeous white wrought iron, windows over the runway, kind of salon, and it's unlimited food, unlimited drinks, including Cava. So I was in heaven. Kind of complimentary copies of Elle and Vogue, a cinema showing kind of an education, beautiful movies, a little spa. We went and got a 15-minute massage there. It was just glorious, and it just completely sets the tone for the rest of your trip.
Nice.
And I think especially if you're flying long haul, so you need to get there a few hours early anyway, you might as well be somewhere lovely while you do that.
Right, and if you're going to go to the airport and like buy food anyway, then it all adds up.
Well, yeah, I think we figured out, we were going to buy like a bottle of Cava to celebrate the fact we were going on holiday anyway. We were going to buy magazines for the air flight. We were going to buy lunch and snacks for the plane. So it probably actually saved us money in the end. But yes, and that's a brilliant way, I think, to deal with flight delays.
Sure. Yeah, you might as well be somewhere fabulous.
Don't get frustrated. Just go have some wine in the lounge. But yes, do you have any other airport traditions?
Well, before you get to the lounge, I assume that's past security, right?
Yes, it is.
So when you're going through security, sometimes I get a little too too much in planning mode, where I think about, okay, I'll wear these shoes because they're easy to take off in the security line. When really, if I'm going on a 7-hour flight, I should be thinking about the 7-hour flight first. So make those considerations and then think about, okay, well, obviously you don't want to go through security with like big jewelry and stuff that you'll have to take off that's really fiddly. I mean, you probably wouldn't want that on the flight anyway. One time, I was flying into Vegas, and I had my like gold dress on because I was only bringing like 2 different dresses, and it set off the metal detector. So the security person said, "Well, next time just wear jeans and a t-shirt." I was like, I'm not wearing jeans and a t-shirt to fly to Vegas.
How dare you, sir?
It was a lady as well.
Oh, how dare you,
Yeah,
madam.
she's sort of like, you're so overdressed. It's ridiculous. Like, if I were wearing what I was wearing right now. I know. Yeah, so don't wear a dress that might set off the metal detector.
But like jeans set off metal detectors all the time because people have coins in their pockets or belts.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you have to take off your belt anyway. So actually, it's way less bad to wear a dress.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's my one nod to FabulosiTEA. I'll wear like a nice top, but I do tend to wear like leggings on a flight just because they're so comfy, and then like a long kind of tunicky top and my fur coat.
Well, I always wear leggings on a flight as well. I just wear a dress over it, so that's why I don't wear jeans, because especially when you're up in the air for a while with the pressure in the plane as well, it just feels
jeans are not as comfy as dresses.
No, they're not. Yeah. But anyway,
it's that one nod to practicality.
Well, it's fabulous practicality, and that's what we talk about here, isn't it?
It is. It's leggings, but it's not. Oh, like the worst thing is people who wear leggings as trousers.
Sure. Yeah, like cover up your bum.
Yeah. Oh. Almost as bad as double denims on.
Double denim.
Big man. Sorry, we're getting off topic.
Sure. Yeah. And my sister's tip is when you're going, she does a lot of flying as well, when you're going through the security line, always go to the line that's farthest from where you get out. So, you know, there's the bit where,
really?
There's the bit where you're sort of weaving through for ages until you get to the front and they check your passport. And then there are like several different machines. People tend to funnel into the one that's straight ahead. So if there's one that's like way off to the right, that tends to go faster.
Oh, that's really clever.
Yeah. She's got it down.
Yeah. Oh, I just Amy Foster, who runs the Heatley Cliff podcast, and writes for Hello Giggles, did an article 10 things you should never wear on an airplane.
Oh my gosh.
It's really funny. I think she got a lot of negative comments, but I loved it. Like, do not wear your pajamas.
No, I think if you have like fabulous pajamas and you're on like a flight to Australia, then wear it in style. Like one time, actually, I was packing up my room at the last minute and forgot to pack my slippers, so they ended up in my carry-on. So I was wearing my slippers on the plane, and it felt so wonderful.
Yeah, I think she says change into PJs on the plane if you're on long haul, but please do not walk around the airport in your bathrobe.
Oh, certainly not.
I know, it's pretty, like, flip-flops. What if, God forbid, there's an accident and you have to make a run for it? It's all about traction, people.
Oh, it sounds like I'll agree with that article a lot.
We'll pop a link in the show notes. But
So as for the actual flight, I tend to be really productive on airplanes. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
I
good
feel
for
like
you.
Well, okay, here's an important distinction. So when I have a lot of work to do, like when I was flying over to university at the last minute and I had to like finish up my reading list or my vacation essay, I could not put that pressure on myself to do writing on an overnight flight. So I sort of decided work is off the table. But sometimes I just feel really productive because it feels sort of like free time where otherwise I'm not really going to get anything done. It's just time that needs to be filled. So I don't know. I click into this productive mode. I like to journal on planes.
That's really good. I think the problem is so much of the work I do is, so much of my writing is just online. And I don't carry my laptop because it's quite bulky. But yeah, no, I should start bringing a journal and like jotting down ideas and things. It's a good idea. Well, I mean, I always have my diary with me, but I'm pretty bad about being productive on planes. I tend to see them as an excuse to drink wine in the air and pretend I'm in Mad Men.
That sounds like a really good idea. Well, a lot of the times I'm on a plane by myself. So So just to clarify, is the wine drinking and Mad Men emulating by yourself or usually with friends?
Oh, Kat, we're not drinking alone again, are we? It genuinely is both.
I'm not judging. Well, if you're only on a flight for 50 minutes to Edinburgh, then...
Well, exactly. Like, I just have, like a glass of wine and make sure I've got, like, a nice cake or something to eat while I read my book for 50 minutes.
I can't remember where I read this, but there was some article about, like, little rituals of mindfulness, and there was one example of a guy who was flying around for business all the time, and he never really keeps a journal, but right in those half an hour or so before the plane takes off, he would just journal, and that's his only journaling time. That's his tradition every time he goes on a plane.
It's very good use of time. When my boyfriend and I went, we were, when was it? Well, 2 years ago, my boyfriend and I went on holiday, and I had an issue of American Cosmopolitan with me, and it was a big quiz issue, so we sat and did all the quizzes in Cosmopolitan.
My sister used to always buy the latest copy of Entertainment Weekly before going on a flight. She always does that and buys a massive water bottle because it's so important to stay hydrated.
Oh yeah, I always bring water for the flight. Always bring water. Everything's so overpriced on planes.
What I usually do is bring a big water bottle on the way over to the airport and make sure that I drink the whole thing before going through security because you can't bring in liquids. And then once I go in, refill it. So start the hydration process early.
That's a really good idea. Yeah. Or if you're me, just drink wine and ruin it completely.
Well, you do something to offset the wine.
I drink water as well. And also, I think get up and move around as well. It's quite important.
When I'm on my transatlantic flight, there are fortunately free movies. So every time I reach the end of a movie, I get up and walk around. And whenever I go up to use the bathroom, I take like the longest route possible, do laps, do some stretches.
Yeah.
Not like running laps, walking laps, strolls. Crazy would that be?
I'm reminded that. Have you seen Bridesmaids?
No. Oh, Bridesmaids. I thought you said Brian Spades.
Yeah. No, sorry. Bridesmaids.
Yes, I was thinking of that.
So what we always want to avoid is that scene on the plane.
Yes, that's all that needs to be said, really.
That would not be flying with Flair.
No, definitely not.
Although it is a very funny scene.
It is. Oh. So, once we've reached the end of the flight, we have our landing. I tend to just book it to customs when I'm flying internationally.
Yeah. Oh, my friends anyone I'm flying with gets really annoyed because I try and hustle them off the plane really quickly, and they're like, "Oh, it's fine." I'm like, "No, hurry up!"
Those lines can be atrocious.
No, and so I get really annoyed because I always try and get on the plane quickly and get my my bag over my head so I can just run off with it. But some people just don't care as much.
Yeah.
I think also I really like knowing exactly where I need to go next and exactly what transport to take.
Yeah.
So I always either try to have like a cab waiting or know exactly the public transport I need to get on next to get to my destination. Yeah. And it just makes such a difference.
Just be prepared.
There's nothing worse than turning up somewhere late at night and the trains are no longer running and you have no idea where you're going.
Right. Yeah, in general, flying can be quite a stressful thing. Traveling in general, but especially flying, because if you miss a flight, it's not the same as missing a bus that comes every 20 minutes. So, understandably, we get really stressed out. But being prepared, both in terms of the planning for how to get there, how to get to your next destination, and how to keep yourself happy with your slippers and... Oh, we didn't talk about, like... toiletries that you take on the plane.
Oh, we did a bit.
Oh.
We said samples in your Muji.
Oh, right. Oh, I meant I take that, like, traveling in general, not necessarily on the plane.
Oh, is it what to take with you when you're kind of going through places?
Oh, I guess that's different things because you always take on all of your stuff. Whereas I would check through my Muji stuff.
Oh, yeah, so that's what I was saying, that it's a bit different because I only take hand luggage, so it needs a bit of different kind of preparation.
Okay. Well, I would recommend, like, having on hand anything that you want to pamper yourself with before you get off the plane. Like, if you want to wash your face or put on some makeup, just make sure that's close to hand.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go rummaging.
Gala Darling in her Love and Sequins podcast, which is great. Which is, I don't know if she's still selling it actually. I don't think she is, but it was wonderful. And she did a podcast on travel. And one of her points was she said she often wears, kind of a face mask on flights, or a very deeply, deeply moisturising serum. And she sees it as an excuse. She puts on hand cream and eye masks.
Yeah, she has a whole thing.
And really sees it as a time to completely pamper yourself, which I think is actually not a bad idea.
I don't know if it was her or someone else as well who brings tea bags.
That is such a good idea.
It is such a good idea. I think... Yeah, if you bring, like, really nice tea bags, you can always ask for hot water.
That's true.
Yeah. And I would say definitely bring moisturizer or some sort of lotion. Lip balm.
Definitely.
It just gets so dry up there, which is another reason why you have to hydrate.
One of my friends who is also a very frequent flyer, I think her family are based in Finland, and she's always flying kind of back and forth and around. She brings on 8-hour cream and just covers her face in it.
Nice.
The entire flight. So she's kind of like a greasy little mess for the entire flight, but comes off looking beautiful.
There you go. Whatever works. So I think how you bring this to the tea party is pretty obvious for this one. It's quite a how-to podcast. But we are interested to know how you fly and what tips you have. What do you bring on airplanes? What do you do on airplanes?
Yeah. Do you have any hints for us?
So you can let us know on FabulosiTEA.com in the comment section, where Caroline will have her lovely show notes for this episode. And you can also chat with us on Twitter at FabulosiTEA.
And Facebook.
And Facebook. Yes.
We're everywhere.
We're all over the place. We're up in the air. Any other business?
Well, we do have our newsletter.
Oh, yes. I'm very excited about that.
Everyone should subscribe. It's going to be essentially a weekly little blast, letting you know about the latest podcasts and other news that we've got going on. And also, should we give away what else we're doing with it? There'll be another little signature touch. Yeah. Basically, every week we're going to recommend the specific tea and cake you should be having whilst you join us for our virtual tea party.
Yes, so you do get a little bit extra by subscribing for the newsletter. And just like flying, it's stress-free, straight to your inbox.
And so just sign up on the website for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the only thing left to do then is to announce next week's episode, in which we discuss Cleopatra-worthy baths.
All about pampering ourselves.
Whilst wallowing around with lush bath bombs and joy.
Yes. So, until next week, have a fabulous week.
Ciao!